Hi, everybody. Good afternoon from Mariana. Wow, Women of World. As I was announcing this morning, this is our second interview with our lovely Mandy Anderson. And welcome, Mandy. How are you doing?
I'm brilliant, thank you. Yes, great to be here.
Cool, cool. So, just a quick overview about why we are here. And for who is following me knows that we are portraying the third edition of a Wow Walk the Talk Festival with the theme I'm Human, which is a reminder for women to be kind with ourselves. And first of all, and secondly, in that way, we are able to set the boundaries and say, look, I'm not perfect. I'm not a machine. So, but I'm great as I am. So just because the time we're living, there is so much demand, a pressure on women trying to run their own businesses or working out at their job role, and as women at home. So it's very pressuring times for, anyway, the world entirely, but especially for women because of the expectation from ourselves, first of all, as I was saying, and maybe from others. So today, I'm really keen to know more about Mandy and what is her view about this I am human reminder for ourselves. So, hi, Mandy. As I was saying, can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what you do and what you do special for our women?
Yes, sure, Mariana. My background's actually in management and IT in corporate companies. So I was doing that for about 14 years and then in further education. And in 2020, I got made redundant. It was nothing to do with the pandemic, but it was at the same time. And I just felt like I didn't want to go back to what I was in. It was the culture. I think you've mentioned it before. It's not human. It's not that it's not friendly. There's only one way loyalty sometimes, and I just felt I didn't want to go back to that, and the stress and everything around it. So I decided I'd set my own company up, and did various things, and then I realized that what I really wanted to do outside the corporate side was personal growth. So personal growth, I'm really passionate about personal growth, and I've been doing so much of that in my lifetime, but especially over the last 4 years. And I set up the Personal Growth Academy, which I set up last June, and it's really to help people, anybody really, but to be, do, and have more in their life and to have more fulfilling lives. So I've been posting lots of things on the Facebook group, and I hope towards as this year goes on, to put more mini courses on there. And I'm putting out a program at the moment specifically for women to help those women who have possibly had difficult intimate relationships and it's making their confidence fall, and they just really want to get self-awareness, to understand it more, take more self-care, to find out who they are, which you'll find out a bit more when we go into my word for the year as well. And so I'm just really passionate into supporting people, and it's really my story as well. So somewhere I've been as well in my life.
Well, this is very interesting to me because, especially during pandemic, IT world, despite the fact that you went redundant, but it was actually the boom for everybody being online, and it was, I would say, starting the AI. So you said that you didn't like it anymore because actually you were not feeling the connections, but being instead booming like that, like crazy, the IT, and maybe most of people that will jump into that in order to have job opportunities because money were there, investments were there, startups, and so on. What instead then is driving you because in order to make that decision? Why that helped you? That moment being going redundant to take the opportunity to change. You said you felt missing the connection, but why? What happened then within yourself and say, okay, this is now the right opportunity to me to go somewhere else, the growth, that development. That is fascinating me to understand what was inside of you that said, okay, you know what, even IT is so important these days. I'm going the opposite. So what was the drive for you?
There was a few things, but when I say IT, I love IT, but it's not IT in the normal sense of the word, and the roles that you get for that. But it's the easiest way to do it because it's management information systems manager, and trying to explain it, it's doing everything for the students who are enrolling, and there's a whole lot of information we send back to the government from the computer system. So it's doing all of that, and then management information for the principals and everything. The issue was that I left a toxic culture a bit earlier before I went there, which was just where there wasn't understanding between the senior management and my team who I was managing. And in this place, the issue was that we were taken over, or the finances weren't great. So the government say, okay, so you need to go out to somebody else, and they take you over. And it was done in such a way that my role was going to split anyway 4 ways, and that's why I got made redundant. But then with a new way, I really did try to take it on. I really tried to do new things, but it was very stifling. So it was like, this is where the decisions are now made, because I was used to making the decisions, but now the decisions are made here, and you can't really make any changes to them. You just have to go with what you're being told, which wasn't the way I felt things should be, because we'd been a lot better than previously before that, where we all had more input to it. I just felt my skills weren't being used. And the actual role of being a management information systems manager is very stressful, because you've got lots and lots of deadlines to meet. And I was a single mum, and I had been a single mum for 15 years at that point. My son was just turning 15. And I just loved that time in the pandemic as well, of being at home, which is weird. But I also joined a group a bit like yours, but it wasn't just for women. But in something that I went and started doing, there was a whole group of mindset, a mindset coach in that group, and he was coaching. So every day at 5 o'clock, we'd go on to this mindset group, and with like 200 people or something, and it was just wonderful, and the connection was great. And I just felt, so I had the money from the redundancy. I don't want to go back to that. And that was building my confidence and building my personal growth, and the books we were reading, and Audible. I just love Audible. I've got so many books on Audible. It's just amazing. But the IT helped me with the IT, that, like you say, I mean, gave us so much, because we could join big courses. Everybody was going online, like Tony Robbins and other things. We could do it all online. And so I did so many things online. And that's why really I just felt that I'd done this for like 25 years, one way or the other. And I just felt now, and then when I started this personal growth journey as well, it was just like, no, this is where I feel I need to be. This is where I am. And
so it's your element. It's basically within you. So you feel you are in your element in a way.
Yes.
This is amazing, because that shows, because I was reading your bio. So you've been in the industry a couple of decades, correct? So it's changing completely. So it didn't scare you at all? Or you have felt you were doing the right thing?
Did it scare me? At different times, possibly. But I'm very much a believer, or I have become very much a believer. Well, I've always believed there's a higher power, not necessarily believing in God, but that there's a higher power and the universe around us. I do believe a lot in that. And I just have I feel that the intuition is quite good, and it was getting strong. And so I just follow the intuition. And so if I see something, it's like, yes, and that's where I need, and it always seems to work out that is where I need to be. And I did the same thing with PSA. It was like, I need to be here. This is where I need to be. I've got to make it work somehow. And yes, I just feel inside that I'm where I need to be at the moment. Financially wise, I'm trusting the universe, but I really do feel that I so could help or support people. It's about supporting people to be who they want to be.
Wow. That was really, it's very inspiring, because it's like, changing completely from a secure job, which sometimes is not secure, as you said, being redundant, and actually you rely on that. And being maybe in the middle age for a woman, say, where do I start? And you change completely the direction, and in terms of being employed and being self-employed or entrepreneur in this case, and doing something you are comfortable with, which is skilled, competence, expertise in something which is more technical, instead now starting from scratch. And I think it's really, really inspiring and hopeful for new generations and women that they are scared to try or to embark a new venture. So I really thank you for that.
Thank you.
I have a question for you. As I was saying, our theme is I am human. So, what do you think then, after this experience, what is the human element that really helped you to go through that? Experience, the fact that you were redundant and make the decision, what is really something that you have not renounced for you being yourself and actually fulfill yourself?
I think it was because I've got a lot of empathy and understanding. I don't always give that to myself, but I have empathy and understanding, which is what I think is a human element I can bring to things. Definitely with the teams that I was working with. I think that at that time, for me, leaving that and doing it, I think it was just a strong belief that I needed to find out more about myself. So my self-esteem was quite low at that point when I got made redundant because of the way it was done. And obviously I had input to that, but I felt that I needed to build that. And what I did manage to do over those times with that, the people on the daily broadcast helped me to do that. And so, yeah, it was very different time then to how I am now. It's been an amazing journey. I've learned so much. Yeah. So the other things would be that, yeah, I used to bring empathy and understanding to my team, especially, and that's probably what didn't do me always that good, because sometimes you're not allowed to have that empathy and understanding. But I did try to do that as much as I could.
I think we lost you for a few moments there.
Oh, okay.
We lost you. Okay.
So
you were telling me about the self-esteem during the redundant. Maybe you are missing that. And what happened there?
So
afterwards?
By joining all the other groups I joined, I built that on that self-esteem. And that was when I started to realize things about myself and lots of different, how I'd been, which I'd been looking at through since childhood anyway. And I just really felt that I needed to build on all of that before I even went back anywhere anyway. And then I just found I didn't want to go back. It's just been an amazing journey, and it's been an amazing journey, definitely.
Yeah, I think is your desire to be connected with yourself and be true to yourself. You were doing something that was making you live in, but was not actually surviving, but not making you live in fully. So
yeah,
and with your personal growth academy, so what is your core? What is around the main, I would say, concept, the human element that you are trying to build your business? You're working on building your business.
The core would be support. It is a new venture, and it's work in progress, and it's trying things out and seeing what works. And it'll be asking people who join or follow me what they might want. But it's going to be things from anything from time management to the subconscious mind to habits or to limiting beliefs. And then the latest thing I said as I'm working on is to help support women who've had difficult relationships and low self-esteem, to understand why that's happening and to be able to put the tools in place to support them to become who they want to be, which links to my word of the year, which is what I'm trying to be more, which is authentic. To take that mask off and be who we really are, to be that human element, and to be okay with being that human element, because we are okay. We just have been conditioned through time to believe we're not. And then we put that mask on and we wear it because we're not allowed to be that real person underneath, because people won't like that real person underneath. and that is not who we want to be.
Yeah, we were discussing with Vanessa earlier on, especially in social media. Now we're talking about authenticity, especially for marketing, to try to attract people that like you. But being authentic is very difficult these days, especially on social media, because people, they are attacking you. Sometimes they are bullying you because they just don't like you, but they don't know you, and they take the liberty saying so bad things. So how can you avoid that? Through the filter. So the person that is on social media sometimes puts on a filter to be actually as not human at all, in order that people, they will grasp only, for example, you for the content instead of the emotional part. So from a marketing perspective, being authentic these days, while we are saying that, in reality is very hard to achieve, because we are again on social media or out there trying to perform what people is expecting from you, and that is not human at all. So I really appreciate that you are spreading this the word authenticity, because is a reminder again about the fact that we need to be true to ourselves. And if you are true to yourself and you are comfortable with it, that is the strength, that is a barrier or is a defense from any attack. Because if you are authentic, sometimes you feel can be very vulnerable, and people that don't have self-esteem or self-confidence enough, it can be very vulnerable element for people that will attack you. And you need to have big shoulders to try to, you say, you know what, I don't care. I mean, I respect if you don't like me, but I know what I'm talking about. And to get to that level of confidence means that you've been through, I'm sure, a journey that you are going to put together with your growth, personal growth program for women, especially, to make sure that they can face that challenge. Because women, I think, more than men, are very sensitive to the judgment, because we are the first ones judging ourselves. So
Yeah.
instead, men, they say, you know what, it's your problem. So I love that, because we should learn from that mindset. How do you help them to, I don't know if in part of your program, you're helping them also to, you said self-doubt, self-esteem. Are you helping them to get to the core of what they really are, for them to be authentic and then not be scared about the judgment?
Yes, and I think as you said it, online, yeah, it can be very scary when people are coming back and saying nasty things. But if you can get to the authenticity, you get to the point where you can love yourself and accept yourself and respect yourself. And that means that you can say to the people online, like you just said, you're not going to please everybody. Not everybody is going to like you. And even if you put a mask on, they're still not going to like you. So the best thing is to just be who you are. And you'll get the people like you who are related to you. The other people don't know you, so they're making a decision based on what they don't know. So it's about building all of that. So it starts with self-awareness of how do we talk to ourselves? What are the conditioning, limiting beliefs that we've been put in place, and are they actually true? And a lot of the time we think they're true. And so when we see something, or if you see something online where someone's being horrible and you haven't got that self-worth, you believe it. You think, yes, they're saying that, therefore it must be true. And we believe that everything is true they say about us, and it just brings your self-esteem down more and more. But it's not true. It's their opinion, and opinions are opinions. It doesn't mean that you have to take it on board. And then it's building through that. And I've done a lot on attachment theory, which is just fantastic, which goes back to what happens when you were a child, when you were very young, and how you made things mean something then, and you gave yourself a coping strategy. You bring that coping strategy into the future, and it doesn't always work in the future in your adult relationships, because you might tend to be somebody, because that's what's made your self-esteem fall in the first place as well, because of how the interactions went. And I'm not talking about necessarily, our parents did the wrong things. Our parents did the best things they could do at their time. but they still had impact on who we were. And we bring that forward. And, you know, you might have had a tantrum at that time so that you got what you wanted. And if you got what you wanted every time, some men may have tantrums now. They handle things differently. But women will tend to make it about themselves, and men will make it about their performance more. We make it about ourselves as individuals and make ourselves failures or whatever, rather than something that we've just not done as well as we could have done. And so understanding attachment theory and how that works, and how we can then put in tools around it, and it's just, it opens your eyes to things that we don't always know. Like, we need needs, we need boundaries, we need standards. And it's like, sometimes we just don't even know that. And it's like, wow, you know, I get to have boundaries, I get to have standards and needs. And it's like, oh, no one ever said that, you know, because we weren't modeled it when we were younger. So it's
but you know, I've been working with in tax for many years, which is a male-dominated industry, as you can imagine. And the point, I must say, men are fantastic and they are able to disconnect more than women. So we are now in business, we are honest on everything. So if with my husband said, stop, is enough. I said, no, but I need to send this. No, tomorrow is another day. Honest. I love, again, as I was saying, the mindset to disconnect from the day routine of our responsibility during at the end of the day, because actually it's helping us to recharge. So I think we have to learn. So empathy is good, understanding is fantastic, is helping, you know, to create the environment which is allowing the growth. But in the meantime, we need to stop to recharge. So being always understanding, always is fine, but we need to know when to stop. Otherwise, that energy is taking over. And how do you deal with this kind of thing in order for the woman to be human with herself, for example, to set the boundaries and say, you know what, it's enough. So I need to look after myself.
It comes back again to self-care and people pleasing. And it's about getting the right mix between self-care and what we do for ourselves and what we do for others. And it's about putting the boundary in place that at 6 o'clock, or 5 or 6 o'clock, we shut the door. I mean, I'm in my lounge, so I can't really shut it out, but you have to at least close the laptop and say, right, it's 6 o'clock, now I move into another time, especially when you're working from home. But it is about the fact that as women, we are, I mean, and I'm not going to generalize, you know, I'm sure there's some men out there that are supportive as well, but we're more supportive in that sense. We want to be helping people out, but there comes a point where you have to put yourself first as well. So like you say, like your husband says, have that cut off and just recognize that you can't do everything for everybody. And you, as long as you're giving yourself, because if you don't give it to yourself, then you have no energy tomorrow to give it to anybody else. And that is really important, to take care of you and not to just be. And also women, they have to know that they can do something 80% before they try something. Men will only need to know 50%, and they'll go and do something. And men have also got, men, when we grow up, if we're given a message as we grow up, we tend to use that against ourselves and our relationships, because that's how women are made. Whereas men tend to put everything into their work. We put everything into people. Men will put everything into their work. They may have been taught not to show emotions as much anyway. So because they're not showing emotions, it's easier for them to disconnect, because that may have been what they've been doing. But I would say it is really hard in a man's world, but we owe it to ourselves to stay as females, to bring that empathy into the room, rather than change ourselves into where the men are coming from. Although I agree with you about disconnecting at night time, but we owe it to ourselves, because women in the conversations just helps it to become a bit more emotional or supportive and less like top level, I think.
Rigid. Yeah, less rigid, less rational, surely.
Yes.
Yeah, but I think, as you said, is also because of the energy, different energy. We are here to talk about women, just because it's a space for women to support each other. Men are more set to as a solo player, normally speaking. because they go out there, they hunt. Women instead are providers. They basically jelly together, or they need to make sure that the family or the communities, they stick together. So he's working on a different level of energy. And but here we're talking about women, just not because we are talking about women excluding men, is just a space for women to grow, because we understand each other, and definitely is important to complement with men, because sometimes we need the the straightforward decision of a man, which has got the power, the strength, and the courage to do so. So there is a lot to learn also from us, from men, in order to, I can't say the balance, but definitely be more. Sometimes understanding it, as I was saying, is good, but we need to say where we stand, making clear to the others what is our standpoint, because otherwise they don't understand. Being understanding could come across like someone that has got no personality or has got no opinion, but it's not about that. As long as you are able to get your message across and standing by yourself, telling what is your standpoint, for others to say, okay, this is it, this person, she is understanding, but I know exactly what I can ask this person or how she can support. Otherwise we give confusion. If you're helping always everybody, I think people can get confused. Don't you agree?
Yes, definitely. And you do, in a lot of my environment has been males as well. And again, I'm not trying to everybody's got their strengths. We've got the strengths as women, and men have got their strengths as men, obviously. And I think that you still have to be a strong woman, but you can be a strong woman in a female sort of energy as well, or at least because you've got to stand up for what you believe and share your opinions and your thoughts with them. And I was once told, or once read somewhere, that when you're in a room with men, just say something at the beginning. Just get the female voice into the room, because they're not used to they're used to having men there all the time. Get your female voice into the room, get it heard, so that they know that you're there. And it's just that, it's just making sure, because if you don't stand up, like you said, and share, you'll just be probably ignored for most of the meeting, because you haven't been that strong. So yes, you definitely got to take that on as well. It's having that strength of character. It depends, you see, where you are. Everything's in context, isn't it? You need that strength, especially in that position, to be there with the men. But within the women's environment, we can be more supportive and that, but also challenging. So my program won't let people, it's going to be, you need to get outside comfort zone. Everything is made in your everything is outside the comfort zone when you grow. And so it will be to get outside that comfort zone, but it will be in small steps, because I know, and I can appreciate how scary sometimes, when you've been in this position for a long time, it's scary to get out there, but it would still be challenging, and you grow over time. It's a journey.
So one question regarding you were telling me that during pandemic, anyway, when you had you came up with the decision to change your route, basically, is the fact that you realized that maybe that time was the self-esteem which was missing. Now I hear you overcome that, but what do you think is instead now, in these specific times, the missing element within yourself as a professional or as a person, that you say, you know what, I should actually work towards this, to have this human identity again, that is making me feeling that I have superpower? Because when you feel human, I think you have a superpower. What is your element, human element, that is missing now, if there is any?
I think what I want to do is to keep building on vulnerability. So, because when you take the mask off and you try to be more authentic, again, that's a journey, and you need to be vulnerable because you're putting yourself out there, but you need to keep putting yourself out there more and more and more. And that's what I want to be doing. So it's the vulnerability I want to build on, so that I'm allowing myself to be more vulnerable, which allows me to be more authentic, really.
Wow. This is very courageous. I really, really admire you for that, because it means that you are not scared anymore. Because sometimes we are scared of ourselves. We think that we're scared from is out there, but actually it's a projection of what we have inside. So it's a fear of discovering ourselves when we don't put ourselves out there. So that is very courageous and brave, and I really admire you for that. Well done.
Thank you. Thank
Great. You. Okay, dear. So I really thank you for this lovely chat. It was very intense and profound. As everybody's following me knows that for Women Festival we run, we give also the opportunity to celebrate the entrepreneurs like you. And if there is any offer, any activity, workshop that you would like to share with, this is a great time for sharing it, in order to give opportunities to women to embark a new journey. So I leave with you if you would like to share any activity you have in your agenda.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you, Mariana. Yes, the program I was talking about, I've got some webinars coming up to launch into that program, just to give you a bit of information about it. And I can share the link with you, but they're going to be on Wednesdays and Saturdays. And it just gives you a bit of a look into what the program could be. And it is, as I said, to support women who want to build on their self-esteem, want to understand their relationships more. It goes into attachment theory, limiting beliefs, subconscious mind, and it's my story. So I understand it, and it's my story, and I just really want to help people not to have to take 58 or 59 years to get to the point that I got to. I want them to get there quicker, so that they can enjoy their life, and recognize that we can be stronger individuals. But the fear always stays there, but you just have to feel the fear and do it anyway, because there's always going to be fear, and it's just our ego, our subconscious mind keeping us back and saying, no, it's not, it's scary out there. And you have to step out the other side and keep going.
Brilliant. I really love that. Okay, so I will, as soon as we finish the live, so if you can put in the comment box the details when they can find the registration form or whatever is the way how they can access it, would be great. So yeah, let's celebrate women and the human element of women in business and in personal life. So I really thank you, Mandy. It was lovely talking to you, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, thank you too, Mariana.
And let's be human, yeah? Everybody.
Human.
Ciao, dear. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.